J.D. Salinger, who was thought to be the most important American writer since World War II, but then turned his back on success, becoming the Garbo of letters. He was famous for not wanting to be famous. He passed away in a New Hampshire house that he lived at for 51 years. He lived to the age of 91. Last year, we conducted a live interview with J.D. Salinger. It was his last interview before he passed away. We asked him several questions about The Catcher in the Rye. Here it is. Hey, how you doing, Mr. Salinger? It's nice having you here. How you doing? Thanks, I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here. How do you feel that a month after you left Austria, that's when Hitler started to take action and taking over?
Well, being raised in a Jewish family, it was hard, knowing that millions of people were being tortured and killed, including my family. But while I was living in Vienna, Austrian Nazis had bullied their way to the top. I soon found out that my hometown Vienna had ceased to exist and that my whole Austrian family had been killed by the Nazis.
From our research, we found out you served in the army. How was that experience serving in the army?
I served in the United States Army during the Second World War. I was also one of the first soldiers who had entered a liberated concentration camp. Experiencing such a sight I had never seen before was very, very emotional for me.
What does JD stand for?
Well, my birth name is Jerome David Salinger, but when I was with my friends or with family, I preferred JD. So much to the point where everyone was calling me by JD. That's why now as an adult I prefer JD.
I know you weren't writing stories as soon as you were born, so when did you first start writing stories?
I started writing stories while studying at Columbia University. My first short story appeared in a magazine. That was a long time ago, 1940 to be exact.
What was the motive of putting so many curse words into Catcher in the Rye?
Well, I included all of the profanities and smoking to capture a life of an average teenager and how they react to certain things. Because nowadays, a lot of teenagers fall under peer pressure and other things like that. So just for them to see what the consequences can turn out to be and all the isolations and alienation that can happen to them.
How do you feel that Catcher in the Rye is one of the most banned books up to date? I don't agree with the book being banned in a lot of states because really the book is set out to teenagers. And I know a lot of stuff that happens in the book can relate to what happens to teenagers. And they always have something to relate or to make connections to. So, you know, some people don't like because it's a lot of cursing, but the kids these age probably heard worse than it. So, you know, people can think what they want, but this is really a book to touch kids, and I hope it touched a lot of kids around the world. Mr. Salinger, what kind of style of writing do you think you use?
Well, personally, I think my style of writing was all about my attentiveness to detail and to the attentiveness to the rhythm of speech. As well, many people think that I know how to break the heaviness of a subject matter. So that is what most people think my style of writing is.
Why did you avoid the attention of the press?
I wasn't fond of being famous. I just wanted to write stories that could connect to people and help them out, so they could feel like they are connected to the main character.
You must have been so excited when that book became a bestseller. What was your reaction? After my book became a bestseller, I retired to my cabin in a forested area. And some may say that I was separated from the rest of the world. Though I spent most of my life there, I never published another book, but I continued writing stories. You had to have some inspiration to write this Catcher in the Rye novel. Was any of these experiences that happened in the story have to do with any real life experience you had? I began writing Catcher in the Rye as a short story for our magazine, but this short story soon expanded into a novel. I wrote the book almost as an autobiography about my views of the cruel world, but my early life did somewhat represent the fictional character Holden Caulfield in several ways. Most kids would look up to their father. How come you didn't follow your father's footsteps into being a meat importer? Well, once I started going to college and I started writing short stories, I really got an interest in the subject. I started writing more and more short stories and sending them to magazines to the point where I got passionate about it. To where I no longer thought about being a meat importer or any other job. It was the one thing I wanted to do was write. And once I got accepted to the New Yorker, I really felt like I could do something with it. And that is when I started writing more and more to the point where I wrote my own novel. So writing to me came as something I wanted to do forever. What do you want Holden to represent? I wanted teens to be drawn to Holden in a different way, so they can identify Holden in a much more private way, to make the reader feel like their experience and Holden's are special because they are unique. I want the reader to feel like they have shared something with the main character. In this case, the anxiety and the disaffection of youth is a rare understanding. Share the experience that they share with Holden is one that is specific to them. Thank you. See you next time. I said fuck. I really was excited when I saw 65. What the? Huh? How did you already know? Oh, no, I got it. Mr. Kimmy, I miss you. I love you. One time, blah. I said it wrong, but. Important American writer since World War II. World War II. Are you recording?
I hope you guys enjoyed the video.
Okay, it took us like 12 hours to do 10 minutes of footage. Okay, it's not a joke. I'm being so serious right now. This is the hardest thing ever. I tried so hard. Editing. You know how long it took us to do 2 minutes of this video? It took us 4 hours to do 2 minutes of a video. You know? Mr. Pearson, give me an A+, please. I tried. Scatino stupid. Isaiah stupid.